Duru, duru. All right. So there's an MMA channel that I love. I love this guy, Napoleon Blown Apart. I love this guy. He's funny. He's witty. He's insightful. Even his repetitive jokes, they either get funnier or they still hold the same. Uh, and to me, that's a mark of a great comedian. Like, if you could tell the same story, get the same laugh without annoying people or pushing them off or making them anxious or tentative or dismissive because you're telling the same stupid ass story again. Um, it just shows his cleverness. You know, it's a unique talent. Napoleon Blown Apart. Okay, so if you haven't checked him out and you're an MMA fan, I strongly encourage you go watch all of his stuff. Okay. The one thing that I disagree with him about is Rhonda Rousey's striking. I agree with Joe Rogan to the extent that I think it's good. I don't think it's special. Her movement, I thought, was spectacular. Head bobbing, side to side, lateral, agility. I really thought that was remarkable. So, and what that got me to remember is one of you guys here on my channel asked me, well, what do you think about Ronda Rousey's striking? And at the time, I got too busy and I probably didn't care enough to investigate it. But since he did, I went in, I took a look at it. Okay. After analyzing Ronda Rousey's fights, Blown Apart did a really good job at showing that she won when she grappled, when it was judo heavy, when it was takedowns and submissions heavy. It was amazing. Where I think that she should have done enough striking to get to smish, like the Dagestansky's. Как Dagestansky's. Dagestansky, yeah. Okay. And what I mean by that is you stand up long enough to cut the distance and go down. And so striking's good. What I thought she should have done after looking at what she did was, instead of going for a boxing base, she should have went for a mixed dirty kickboxing base. The reason why I say that is her movement from side to side was remarkable. People usually can't bob their head and go 4 feet in either direction that fast, especially when you're as tall as most women are. You know, the guys that are really, really good at moving 3 feet are 7, 8 inches taller than the average person. So, got my height, you know, guys that are a little bit taller. We're talking 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", you know, 6 foot. Those are the people that usually can move laterally very quickly. Okay. So Ronda Rousey's game, when it was at its apex, whenever she was untouchable, was get in, move, takedown, armbar. It was a very elite 3-step process. Move, cut the distance, move, catch an angle, whatever. Take her down, and armbar that bitch. Put that bitch in an armbar. Okay. Where it failed was, let's just stand up and throw. Okay. 2 things. The first thing is, unless you're Israel Adesanya, or Oma Takita for the Kengan Ashura and fans of anime. You never want to stand and throw. You want the fight to be done as quickly as the fight can be done. The easiest way to do that when you know you're 1v1 is throw them, get to the ground, and depending on your situation and the rules, submit them, go to points, go to the judges, or kill the motherfucker. Just depending on, like, what are we doing here? If we're fighting in the streets, touch him up enough, run. Run away. There's no need. Why stand and face the consequences? Run. Bust him up, but, try not to get evidence on you and then go. Leave. Flee. And then literally tell no one about it. Is the simplest street fighting, right? Washington State is a mutual combat state, which two people could decide to have a fight. They could have a police referee it, an officer referee it. In that case, you beat until the ref stops. Okay? Right? But if you're in a cage match, UFC, Pride, Bellator, or something like that, you don't ever want to let it go to the judges. 1, there's corruption. 2, people are biased. 3, it's at the core of it, when you boil it down empirically, it's someone's sensibility. It's someone who they're applying their belief system and their training upon what they're seeing. And it's not like they're not studying the tape. They're not going home, taking a week, studying the tape, and then coming up with it. They're coming up with a decision 15 seconds after the last round. 5 seconds after each round. And then calculating it. It's not like these judges get to perfect the decision every single time. It's not that way. It's just not. So you don't want it to go to the judges. So if you're fighting in a UFC style, pancration style fighting, you want to end the fight. How do you do that? You knock them out or you submit them. Okay. What have we seen works the best that way? You stand up long enough to cut the distance, take them to the ground, and then smash. You either beat them where they lay until the fight stopped, or you submit them. You break something in the like in the Oliveira contra Tony Ferguson. And that fight, what that fight taught us was, if you don't tap, you just get a broken arm, stand up, and then still lose. So, when you're fighting for a purse and not for your life, tap. When you're fighting for your life, take that broken arm and then beat him with it. And try to go home. Okay. With all of that said, back to Rhonda Rousey. All right. The Khabib. Put him up. That person gets him up. Shoot him. Okay. Khabib versus Gaethje. Put him up. Trade a little bit. Use kicks to get your shooting distance. Shoot, go in. Triangle choke. Okay. Islam Makhachev, which I've been gone for a long time. I haven't looked at fights. I've been doing my own thing. I've been busy. You would not believe if I told you the truth. So I'm just not even going to get into it. But I've been busy. But still been training. Per sempre. Всегда. Always. Always. A martial artist always trains, even if it's just as simple as eating right and trying to keep your posture good when you sit down at work. But you always train. Martial arts is everywhere. Okay. So, what I think Rhonda Rousey should have done is less Islam Makhachev and more Khabib. Put them up, exchange, get your opening, go down, and then collect arms. There was nobody that was going to be able to not get armbarred by her. Or at least in the time frame where she was still champion level. Okay? And she lost. Napoleon Bonaparte, or blown apart, was correct. She still had a couple of years where she could have been a champion. She could have had her record be and for quite a while. I didn't investigate her record. I don't know what the hell it was, but I know it was good. She had 3 or 4 losses that were simply because she was trying to beat Conor McGregor. And the problem with being purely striking, and guys, I'm a striker. I love striking. But you're not going to see my fat old ass sit there and trade. We're going to the ground. Or I'm running away. Or whatever. But what's not going to happen is we're not going to sit there and trade for 15 minutes. My nose is already fucked up enough. My face is already... Who knows what the CTE is already... We're not going to say... I'm not going to open up every one of my knuckles and have to fucking do exercises as the scar tissue heals over my hands again. No. It's going to be enough until I make that algorithmic decision to either go to the floor or go home. Okay. So, Rhonda Rousey, at her best, should have one combination up top, end with a kick. Or start with the kick, combination, go down. But it's one combo, a kick, and go down. Or one combo and go down. Because she was a champion without ever throwing a fucking punch. If you're going to add striking to your game, it's because you want to get better and more efficient at grappling. You don't put striking in your game to stop grappling. Grappling is king. It's simple sambo, guys. It's simple old school judo. It's simple old school jujitsu. It's simple kalari payatu. The dude on top makes the person on bottom pay for being on bottom. And if it's kalari payatu, that's your fate. You are now a caste below me. I mean, it's literally that simple. If we're warriors and I end up on top of you, and that's how the fight ends, all your descendants are below my descendants. Unless one of your descendants can... I don't begin to know the rules in that. But that's the empirical, very, very fine string, nuts and bolts of it. Okay? In jiu-jitsu, they fought, it was... Okay. So in Japan, the martial arts started with the monks coming from India and China, basically. If you're a Japanese historian, I'm sorry. But it all started with the monks and the priests out of India going either into China or going elsewhere. And they had the kalari payatu, the martial arts. That was their exercise, and that's how they protected sacred knowledge. What's the sacred knowledge? You can connect to God, and it comes from within. Well, if I can pray and connect to God, I have to protect that. How do I protect that? Fuck you. You ain't stopping me from praying. You ain't stopping me from doing my religious activities, my spiritual endeavors. Okay. So even Buddha had a martial arts. Buddhists have a martial arts. Okay. So it began with that religious philosophy, that religious understanding. I am beneath God, or I am beneath what is above, right? So what is below me is subservient to me spiritually. But I am connected in yoga. I am one and centered. So I forgive him. Or kill him. Or whatever the Kshatriya, the warrior rules change but the basics are the same. Basics are the same. If I end up top, if I win, you're beneath me. And that's the way it goes. If I don't kill you, you live in shame. It's a shameful thing to not kill you. Okay? Because if I kill you, I can liberate your soul. And your soul can work its way to moksha, heaven, freedom. Okay? Basically. All right? And for you Christians out there, it's still the same philosophy. All right? I mean, I grew up Catholic enough. My dad is still, he's been dead a long time. He's still Catholic. That's how Catholic my dad is. But it's still the same thing. You hand my dad a crucifix. My dad or my stepdad, I got two dads. You hand either one of them a crucifix, they're not going to let you take it. To the point where they will fight you or pull out a gun, a katana sword, a bow and arrow. Try to summon the beasts from the wild. But they're not giving it up. Okay. The reason why I said all that is because Rhonda Rousey gave up something sacred because she was victorious on top. And instead of adding something to stay victorious, she veered off her path to follow something that wasn't victorious. Okay? Now, the reason why I went through all of this explanation is because if you hear this, you'll have a spiritual understanding. Which a spiritual understanding in martial arts, the practice of martial arts is spiritual. Whether you're Catholic, Hindu, Shinto, Tai Chi, whether you believe a box of matches was given to you by a divine force, or whatever other heretical nonsense anybody can dream up. If you protect it by deliberately and focusedly, gruelingly training your body so that no one may take it away from you, and then offer your soul to the thing you're protecting, that's martial arts. That's why it was developed. Now, there are the hedonistic martial artists, the money grabbers, the purse grabbers. These are like the Conor McGregors, I'm just in it for the money. Okay. Well, when you fight a true martial artist in Khabib Nurmagomedov, you get tapped and beat up, and then go cry on your money. So I'm not knocking him. What I'm saying is because you don't have that spiritual aspect, you don't remain victorious. Khabib wins the championship, goes and prays. They don't go party. You don't ever hear about him whining and dining, and he just goes home and prays. And I think that's what everyone should do. Go and pray. If you're Catholic, this is one thing that I've learned. The Catholic ritual prayer system works. There's a lot of magic in it. If you're Christian, be Catholic. Okay? Be Catholic. Obviously, we've seen enough Muslims. They pray 5 times a day. They're clean. So, I'm not Islamic, and it's very hard for me to tell any. I'm never going to tell anybody to be Islamic. I'm never going to do that. It personally, because there's my family from all sides have been attacked, raped, murdered, and plundered. Their societies, their villages, my ancestors' graves have all been destroyed. The temples have all been destroyed by Islam. So I can't say that. But I am humble enough to say that to be a warrior and pray 5 times a day is amazing. Okay. So Rhonda Rousey goes in and gets taken in by a striking coach who had a kickboxing. He had won a kickboxing championship. Okay. Cool. I thought her hands were pretty good. She did a lot of karate rotation, a lot of sankaku looking rotation. Blown Apart said it was too jiggly. That wasn't the striking. Well, you'd like to see her core rotate more on the backhand, and you'd like to see a little bit more of a curvature and a snap from the elbow up top. But it wasn't he was making fun of it, and it wasn't that bad. The problem that she was having wasn't that her form was all that messed up, which it wasn't. Because sometimes I'm not going to rotate the whole way on the backhand. I'm just gonna toss it to recoil, because you don't throw 100% power in every strike. You just don't. It's stupid to do that. Most elite strikers I've ever ran across they pyramid up, they pyramid down. They throw a couple, get their gauge, warm the body up, and then once they see it, they boom. But they're only throwing 3-4 strikes the entire fight at 70-80%, and the rest, everything else is about 40%. Because they're working on movement, they're working on whatever. And if you're in a pancration style system where you can go to the ground, you don't gotta be a Muay Thai kickboxer. Go to the fucking ground. Go to the ground. The ground is perfect. The ground is perfect. It is your teammate. If you manipulate the person on the ground ain't going to let them back up. It's you that would let them back up. Ground ain't going to move out of the way so they don't fall. It's you that doesn't take them to the ground. So, I haven't talked to my audience in a long time, so yeah. So what I'd like to say is, yeah, basically Ronda Rousey had the components to do Smish, and she had an Armenian coach that should have known enough to help her do Smish, because Armenia is in the Caucasus Mountains, and Smash comes from the Caucasus Mountains. Because it's just old school judo, old school jujitsu, taught to Caucasian, Caucasus mountain wrestlers. It's Sambo. Ronda Rousey should have just done Sambo. That's it. But no, I thought her hands looked clean. Thought her hands looked good. The only things I didn't like was like in her Sankaku, where Napoleon Bonaparte was making fun of her, was because she was throwing and she was maintaining her center of gravity here instead of shifting the center of gravity into the throw, right? So, and that's where the core comes in. You shift, you pull. You shift, you pull. But when you're shadow boxing, sometimes you just kind of stand there, and it looks good, but you're kind of flailing. You kind of get a little bit unclean. You create a little too much jiggle, too much wiggle. But if you take your core and you move your core, shuffle your feet from the floor, from the earth, which is perfect. It's not going to leave you. It's not gonna one time you're trying to do it and then the earth is not gonna act the way the earth or acts. It's always gonna act the way it acts. Okay. So this started out with me trying to do a critique on a video you've never seen, and it turned into a lesson on martial arts, spirituality, and fundamentals, whatever. Okay. But yeah, if I'm shadow boxing, see, there's jiggle, there's all kinds of stuff. Center of gravity's here. Center of gravity goes to the punch. It's a different ballgame, right? Okay. But yeah, to answer a question from 4 years ago, what do I think about the fall of Ronda Rousey? This is what I think about the fall of Ronda Rousey. Instead of developing Caucasian Smish and being a female Khabib or Islam Makhachev, she tried to be a female Khamzat Chimaev without being without taking him to the ground. Trying to stand up against Holly Holmes is dumb. Holly Holmes wouldn't stand up against Holly Holmes. It's dumb. I'm a striker, right? But if I'm fighting Israel Adesanya, I'm taking that juiced up mother to the ground. We're going to the ground. I mean, I'm a striker, but if I'm facing Khamzat Chimaev, we're going to the ground. I respect his invisible uppercut way too much to sit and try to throw with him. With that said, I'm not going to be afraid to throw with him because that's outside of the spirituality of martial arts. Okay? I'm just not. And I thought it was hilarious that he said, Allahu Akbar on 9/11, I'm going to kill everybody. If you want to know what I thought about that, I thought it was funny. He's turning himself into like some sort of Chechen villain, whatever. All right, whatever, cool. Okay, whatever. Cool. So I thought it was funny. I didn't think much about it. If he continues, someone from Chechnya, if he starts yapping to someone from Chechnya or Dagestan or whatever, is going to pull him aside and be like, don't be the fucking brown Conor McGregor. Don't make the mountain look like Conor McGregor. Okay? Don't do it. It's nonsense. Conor McGregor isn't Conor McGregor the whole time. He has bouts of humility. Because you have to. That Colby Covington's the only person that bah the whole time, and he gets beat up a lot. Inflated ego, arrogance. It doesn't, you could yap for the sheer WWF pro wrestler of it. If you do it enough and don't get humble, it will conflate with arrogance, be hubris, and you will get hurt. You say something enough, you believe it. Okay? That's why repetitive prayer works so much. That's why chanting works so much. Singing works so much. Because you believe it. And what you believe, you manifest. It's simple. If you're anxious and scared all the time, life's got to be scary. If you're calm and humble all the time, then you only face the things that fate makes you face. My dad was a very humble Catholic. And he would pull out his beads and pray every day. Sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. My mother wasn't Catholic, but she did her religious intentions every day. Every day. So yeah, I saw it firsthand. And yes, every day I pray as much as I can. Much as I can. I have my dad's rosary and I use it. Okay? And what I found is there's so much magic in it. It works. Anyway, so the downfall of Rhonda Rousey for the 3rd or 4th time is she should have developed Smash. She should have developed a martial artist ritual, spiritual ritual in it. She didn't, from what I saw. But that's even naive for me to say, because training you will develop a spiritual ritual training every day. It's just a matter of who are you praying to, and do you know you're doing it? All right, guys. A lot of love. Sorry I haven't been on here a long time, and I'll see you later.